Happy Nintendo Story Tuesday, everybody! What? So it's been forever since I made a video, and I want to talk about that, but later. Right now, I want to get right into this awesome, super special episode of Nintendo Story. Today's story comes from one of my best friends. His name is Brent William Sanderson. He is an incredible musician, an incredible artist, an incredible father, an incredible husband and friend. He's got it all. He's truly one of the most special people I know. Just being completely real here, he is one of the most special people that I know. And I am honored that him and I got on Zoom and we had a conversation, and he told me his Nintendo story, and I was able to make the following video out of it. And man, it couldn't have gone better. I am so happy that I know Brent. I'm so happy that I'm here with you, showing you a brand new Nintendo story. Let's get right into it. Let's go back in time. Let's hop on that Zoom call and let's hear from Brent Willy. Hi, buddy. How are we doing? Can we cheers real quick?
Yeah, we certainly can.
Cheerios, my friend. Without further ado, I really would love for you to just go right ahead, Brent, and tell me your Nintendo story.
I'm probably 21 or 22. I was doing the solo dolo single thing for a little while, and it sucked, as all of you probably know. I was able to, in that time, to hang out with some friends that I haven't been able to connect with in a while. They would always leave, and when they'd leave, they say, "Oh, we're gonna go hang out at Sophia's house." And I was always like, "Who's Sophia?" You know, I'd like to meet someone named Sophia. You guys don't have to leave. She can come here. You guys can hang out here. Eventually, at a party, I met the woman who would later become my wife. Sophia walked through the door, and just being smitten from the second I put my eyes on her. This little tiny Hispanic girl just took my fucking giant redheaded ginger heart and ripped it right out of my chest.
I love you.
From that day, pretty much forward, we didn't spend a whole lot of time apart from each other. We lived in the same apartment complex. My lease was up in my apartment. I asked her, I said, would it be okay if I just moved in with you? This seems kind of fast, but we were having so much fun, dude. It just made sense. And I'm not sure if I should be swearing right now or not, but
you know, I'll put the little...
Yeah, the little bling!
Bling!
And so I moved in, and I moved all my stuff in, and key amongst that stuff was my Super Nintendo. And she's like, "Oh, video games." You could tell, you know, she was like, she kind of looked at me a little different, like, "Oh, you're into video games." I said, "Yeah, do you play video games?" And she said, "No, absolutely not." I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, my brothers never let me play. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I would always want to play, and they'd never let me play." And I was like, "Okay, well, you can play with me, you know? We can play." Took a couple of nights before I finally convinced her to pick up the controller. And she did. And she got a few steps. She'd fall down a crevice and die. And then she'd try again, and she'd fall down that same crevice and die. And then she'd try again, and then finally she figured that if she jumped, she could make it over, and then a Goomba would kill her. But every night she'd get a little bit further. She'd jump over the ledge. She'd hop on the Goomba. I taught her how to pick up the shell. She'd throw the shell until finally, one night we're playing, and she's going, and she's going, and she's going. And this excitement is just building up in my chest, and I'm like about to explode because I can see the goal line. It came into view. And I said, "You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it." And she looked at me with tears in her eyes, and she said, "I'm gonna do it." And she ran through it. Dude, we leapt up onto the bed, held each other, and just started screaming. Yeah! She did it, dude. She did it. it was a level of joy that I can, compare only to a few things in life. From that point forward, it was like, okay, well, let me show you every single way to beat every single level in this game. And it became just a nightly tradition. The days became years. We bought a home together. We got married. Close to 3 years ago today, we welcomed my son into the world. And I haven't told you this yet, Jesse, but we just found out that she's pregnant.
No way!
Yeah. So I'm about to have a number 2. I'm about to have a number 2 on the way.
Are you for real?
I'm for real, dude.
Dude!
Yeah, dude.
Congratulations!
Yeah, dude.
To find out like this.
I know.
That's great. You were like, I'm gonna bring him the good content.
I'm gonna save this shit for the video. So I think back to like playing with my wife on the bed in her apartment, and then being in my home with my son, and he's holding the exact same controller that his mother held when I first taught her how to play the game, and I'm teaching my son now how to play the game. Life is a beautiful thing, man, and I've been blessed with a wonderful one. That's my Nintendo story.
Oh my God. Wow. I knew the story already and it got me again. Oh. Wow. Wow, I'm wowing still. I'm wowing after the wows I wowed during the actual wow.
Wow.
I just think that's my favorite story ever. It's just so wholesome and beautiful, and also like I just relate to it so much. And he told me he was having a baby. Come on, how do you do that to a man in the middle of a YouTube video? Like, oh, really lucky to know Brent and Sophia, and I am so thrilled with the way that Nintendo story went. Okay, so now I want to talk about where I've been and why it's been so long and all that stuff really quick. Long story short, life had gotten very life the last several years. And I would say 3 years ago when I stopped making Nintendo stories, everything was just so overwhelming and so crazy that I was going through a lot of personal growth and change and everything like that. And so there was nothing I could do. I had to stop making the videos, and it was such a bummer because making the videos was just something that made me so happy, just I had such a good time doing it. But essentially what that turned into, that break, that stopping, it turned into, what do I want to do? And the answer was simple. Mr. Krabs, I have an idea. All my life, I have wanted to play music. Ever since I was a wee Goomba, it is what I have wanted to do. To be in a band, to sing, to perform, to write songs. It's been what I've wanted to do. So guess what? I'm gonna freaking do it. I'm starting a band. The band's name is Megaflower. The real fun thing about Megaflower is that it's not just a band. I'm not just coming out with songs, putting them on Spotify, and that's that. Megaflower is also going to have a podcast. The podcast is called the Megaflower Mega Show. And not only does it have a podcast, but it's going to have a YouTube channel, as well as the podcast in video form. I'll be doing everything I ever did for Nintendo Story and then some. Instead of it all just being about Nintendo and video games and my collection, it's really going to be about me and life and everything and whatever makes things exciting and entertaining. And it's just going to be my playground for me, my friends and family, for my colleagues, to get together and to just really have a good time and to make entertaining content. And then yes, I'll be putting out music and it'll be on Spotify and it'll be all that fun stuff. And I'll talk about it plenty, but it's not just going to be like your average, oh, this is a band and just, putting out songs or whatever. We're going to be talking talking and hanging out daily and doing all kinds of really fun stuff, as well as the podcast. There'll be one new episode every week. These are going to be long form podcasts with people on them. I'm so excited and so scared in the best way. As for Nintendo Story, that's where I get really excited too. Nintendo Story lives on, baby. Nintendo Story lives forever. I want to tell people's Nintendo stories. I want to continue to do that. And so that's something I plan to do with people I have on the podcast. So I'm going to ask my guests on my podcast if they have Nintendo stories. I'm going to take their stories. We're going to make them into videos just like we did here. And it might not be exactly what it used to be, but it's going to be Nintendo Story, and I'm gonna get to tell people stories and make fun videos about moments that mean a lot to people, and that's really all that matters, and it's really, really exciting. So what I would like to do is I would like to invite you to follow Megaflower on our social media channels, Instagram, YouTube. In the spring, like I said, we're coming out with our first song and first episode of the podcast, and I really, really, really look forward to it. I've never worked harder on anything in my entire life. I've spent so many countless hours prepping and getting this near where I want it. And it's time to stop molding. It's time to stop tweaking. It's time to start just putting stuff out there. And so I'm really, really excited. And I just wanted to thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here at all. You're the best. The friends and family that I have already that, connected with me on this. Thank you. I love you. And the friends and family that I got from meeting people online. Thank you. I love you. It's just so amazing. And so I've been really excited to come and tell you guys this news because I think that there's a lot of fun to be had. There is a lot of fun to be had, and Nintendo Story lives on. And so with that being said, I'll see you guys on the Megaflower social media stuff. It won't be long before I'm posting every single day. I cannot wait. Until then, this has been Nintendo Story number 32.